Well, once again, welcome to Computer Fundamental Fridays. Just want to go over through a quick disclaimer just to cover everyone. And essentially just want to state that I'm certainly not a know-it-all. I may not have the answer to your questions. This is the older one. But I'll go through it anyways because this kind of applies to if there were questions that maybe I had no idea of the application or item that we're going to be discussing at hand today. But I'll do my best to answer any questions that are brought up that I may or may not be able to answer. And after this, I have run into, which I'm happy to do so, if there is a point where you and I need to get together to do a one-on-one training, happy to do so. It's been beneficial, and that is what happened as a result of last week's training. But we all know that everyone starts off with certain computer skills, and we all use them different ways, and sometimes we all may only use one or two different applications quite heavily and know it thoroughly in and out, but then a bunch of other ones we don't have any clue about. So my whole idea with this program is to bring as much application and support and processing and whatnot to you and do it through these classes and trainings. But anyways, that's pretty much about it. I'm sure you can kind of read what's on screen there. But the whole idea is that as we use more and more applications each and every day, they do get program updates and customer feedback, and things are really designed to make not only our lives simpler, but those also around us, so that we don't have to pick up the phone call or pick up a phone, leave a voicemail telling someone to call us back. We can essentially utilize the tools that are at our hands in order to make things a lot simpler. Well, today's training is, okay, I've got that recording, and let me adjust this screen. We are going to discuss Foxit Phantom PDF. Let me essentially expand that. So I've got a couple PDFs that I had made, and if anyone's not familiar with fillable forms and using an application to create these, you can do, this is just a basic example that I had made for the 19th district, where instead of you having a hard copy piece of paper, printing things off and or writing on them, you can pretty much just use the Foxit Phantom application to create this. You can put whatever, really, literally anything that you want on it. There's other things that the application does that will allow you to utilize someone else's PDF and convert it, make it your own, add your own information and whatnot. But the whole goal is really to give you a way electronically or digitally so that you can keep these files in a digital format, print them off if you need to, type in whatever information that you essentially, if I can type here, need to be made available, save it, upload it into whatever application that you need to, but essentially have everything here and available in a digital format. So with this, just take a couple quick look at a few of the other ones that were done recently. Jackson, see, I did also a grand jury presentment. I think this was done just the other day, actually. So you can really, any questions, anything that you want to extract from whoever it is that you're communicating with, you can. Welcome to the call. Who do we have?
John Zimmerman.
Hey, John. This is Brady at the conference. If you would, I'll send you an email. Reply to the email that you received from me, and I'll send you a link that will allow you to view my computer monitor.
Okay. Thank you.
So these are kind of some of the basics, and what we'll do, I'm going to go ahead and get the application fired up, and we'll begin to create one and just kind of give you a feel. Now, one thing I will point out is if you do not have, and I may need to share full screen, if you do not have the Foxit Phantom PDF application installed on your computer, you will want to contact the help desk and just ask them to install that. And I believe Will Brown said that he is going to...
I've got it.
Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, very good. That he is going to include this and may actually push this out to all computers since we do have an increasing demand for it. Okay, so what you're seeing on screen here, this is just a start page for whenever you open up Foxit Phantom PDF. What we're going to do is I'm going to click on the little piece of paper with the starburst on it. We're going to create a blank PDF. When we do that, I'm going to go through some of the nuances that you have, that you will encounter whenever you use this application. Yeah, and John, if you want to, just reply to that email. That way, I'll get it, and then I'll reply back to you with the link.
Yet.
What's that?
It hasn't come through yet.
Oh no, the one that you got earlier today.
Oh, reply to it. Okay.
Yeah, reply to the email. Yeah, that was sent to you earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, just reply to it. You don't have to put any text on it. Then once I get that, I will forward that link to you. All right. Just a second. Here we go. Should get it in just a second.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, just click on that click here link, and that'll take you right there. So the application, a couple of things that I try to get. It's a really good application, but there are some nuances with it. And as you begin to create and develop your own PDFs, you'll see some of the things. But this application, for the cost as well as what it can do, it's really got in comparison to other applications, it really has a wide range of capabilities and things that it can do. But there are just a few things that I'm going to point out that you'll want to do to overcome some of the limitations that it has. But all in all, it's a pretty good application. One of the things that I do, because as you design these, let me scroll out a little bit, unless you have a definite organization, like let me even pull up, like say some of this, trying to fit certain things on a screen, you'll notice after you get the layout done and you have everything put in place, if you have any additional things you need to do, you may need to go through what you have created and realign everything in a different position. This PDF that you're looking at on the screen, all of this can be modified. All of the form fields, the text, the image, the check boxes, everything can be put in different places. So that's one of the things, is you want to kind of give yourself a little bit of room or wiggle room to work with, so that if you don't really want to make it so tight that you can't, make an adjustment, and you'll definitely see that maybe a resizing of the font is what's needed, etc. Just a lot of different little things. But you just want to have kind of like an overall aspect of it to some extent before you get started. Right in the middle section of the ribbon, you'll see some of the tasks that are available in each tab. The ones that you're going to be using the most, at least creating a fillable form, will be the Edit tab, and also the Form tab. And if you want to do anything with any of these fields, you will need, even if you're going to copy them, you will need to click on the tab, then click on, say, if it was a text field that we were wanting, You will need to do that in order for the other fields, as we begin to create this, for the other ones to show up. Let's go ahead, we will just start off from scratch. I'm not for sure. Some district offices like a logo or some type of image if it's kind of like an official form that they're creating. Some people do not. Kind of depends on really what you're working on and how the priority of what it is that you have. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off without one. I'm going to go ahead, we'll just click on the Add Text button, and you will need, for each of these, you will need to click on them first, then go into the actual form, click in it, and there we go. And sometimes you may need to double do it, or double click it. So we'll just start off here. We'll begin this with State of Tennessee. And one of the things that they haven't got a fix for it yet. If you have text on the screen here, you may need to click on the Edit Text button in order to have the ability to move it and or make changes to it. But you'll notice right here where the font is, and this is one thing that kind of drives me a little crazy, is that they give you a way to make a font default. However, for some odd reason, it doesn't work. So I know that a lot of attorney offices, DA offices, prefer the Times New Roman font. So we'll go ahead and we'll change this to Times New Roman. All you have to do is click anywhere in there. Once all the text is highlighted, just begin to type the name of the font that you want, and then everything within this would need to be highlighted, so in order for it to completely change. So since I would like the font to be a little larger, you can just click inside there, make sure the cursor is blinking, then do Control-A on your keyboard to select or highlight all, and then go up to the size and then make your adjustments as needed. If you click away, as long as the Edit Text button is selected, you'll be able to drag and drop that wherever you want.
Can you have a ruler up there so you kind of have an idea of where you're on the page, or the grid's supposed to
There you go. Yep. And I usually try to set that up first, but I didn't this time. All you have to do is click on the View tab, and then you'll have, and the thing of it is, by default, for some odd reason, I haven't looked to see if there's a way to always have it available, but it doesn't apply it.
There you
And
go.
you'll definitely want to make sure you utilize that, because since it's 8.5 inches wide, you'll be focusing right here for the very middle of that page, and you'll always want to make sure that. And the thing of it is your cursor, wherever you are hovering over, will be the exact mark. So if you're a lot of times in the very middle where your controller buttons are on the text, it will not give you that capability to move it like it does when I move just slightly to the right. So just keep an eye on that, go back, hover over that. As long as you're aligned right up there, you should be good to go. Now when it comes to the text, since I want to keep the text the same, maybe not necessarily the font size, but I want to keep the text the same, you may need to go back, click on the Edit Object button. And this is where it gets kind of a little quirky. But if you click on the Edit Object button, we'll be given the option to right-click and copy, whereas if I clicked on the Edit Text button, right-click, I don't have that option. So to me, that's kind of a little strange. But anyways, click on the Edit Object, right-click on it, copy, then you can Control-V on your keyboard. That will paste it, and we can drag and drop that. Let's just go ahead and highlight all of it. So I'm going to double-click inside the text, then I'm going to press Control-A on my keyboard, and we'll just readjust the size. We'll make this 12 point. And here we can pretty much just do whatever we want to. Someone is going to, and one of the things, you can really make any of the fields, any of the components that you're going to put together with these. There is no specific size, even though they have these shown as individual squares or particularly cells or grids. Grids or cells, doesn't really matter. You can make the adjustments, but it's just a good spacing if you were to keep them aligned with the size of those. But you can design it however you really want to. So within this, we're going to go ahead. We've got the text that we want. Let's say we'll say we're going to want district in here. We're going to, and it really depends. Let me click back up on some of these, kind of the information that you want. And the biggest thing that you're going to want is not necessarily the text on there, but primarily the form field that you're going to be able to click in and put whatever information and data that you want in there to be used for. So in this case, we'll say like in the 22nd district, we're going to want a form field. So we'll need to go back up to the form tab, click on it, and then you'll see some of the functions that you can utilize within the area or the ribbon of the form tab. And you'll definitely get familiar with these as you use them. You'll definitely probably use the checkbox or the radio button. Combo box gives you quite a few options, list box as well, and then this text field. For this, we're going to utilize the text field. So in order to get that, I'm going to have to click on the button, and then all you have to do is left click and drag to the size that you want that area to be. That'll of course be based on the text that you're needing to add to the form itself. Now in the very beginning, because you're more than likely going to utilize the same font and the same size to make it all uniform, you're going to want to set this up in the very beginning. Make sure you do so at the very beginning, because all we're going to do after this point is we're going to copy this form field and paste it in the other areas that we need it to go. So on this case, and this does by default use that Helvetica font and other automated tasks and or options in it. So let's say if we had in the 16th district that we want that to go in, don't think it's really going to take that much space, because you can use the existing text to kind of get the basis for the size of it. But what we're going to want to do with this text field 0, and you can name that, we're going to want to first right click on it, and you'll notice prior to this it had the properties link. We'll click on properties, and this is where you're going to really want to make your adjustments right off the bat, because we're going to be copying these. Because if you don't copy this, the next form field that you do, it's going to automatically apply the default text, and you're going to have to make changes to the properties of this each and every time. So if you just right click on it, left click properties, and then you make the changes here, you'll certainly be saving yourself a lot of time and frustration. You can make the decision for the name of this text field. Personally, I just leave them as they are, because they aren't as important to me as they might be to you. But maybe if you want to identify with this, maybe you should name it district number, etc. Tooltip, not for sure if you're really going to use that, but if you want, whenever your recipient hovers over it, if it's a little confusing, you could offer say a tooltip to help them. But you definitely don't have to apply that. Common properties, probably not going to be using that too much. The appearance, you definitely will. You can see here borders and collars. The line style, if you want it underline, certainly you're going to click on this. We'll make the selection for underline, and then the thickness of it, let's go medium. You can make the call for whatever you want to on that. The border collar, if nothing is selected, you want to definitely make the change on that. So we'll click on that, and then we'll go down to black. So we now have an underline that's medium in thickness and black border collar, but it will just be the underline, which you can see on screen right there. The font size, you will always want to change this because this can be as large, if not larger, than what we see on the State of Tennessee text. It will automatically do it. It's probably not going to throw it way out of proportion, but it will, especially if you have fields that you're going to be wrapping the text or not wrapping it. It will try to make a decision based on that. So just in the font size, just apply the same font size that you have in the text that you have on the form, and then the font, definitely change that as well. So I'm going to click on the drop down, press on T to get me to the T's, and then I just click on Times New Roman. Here you can see that you have the direction of the text. We'll leave that as it is, and then also you can change the font color if you wanted that to be changed. We'll get into in another form or another field some of the options, primarily the multi-line. But with what we have for right now, I think that looks good. And one thing that you'll want to do after you get maybe the first sentence and or field put on your new form, let's go ahead and save it. And we will put it to the desktop. And we will call this test 2019-1108. Now we have this saved, and the reason why I do that is because I want to see how this looks before it gets done. So I use the Google Chrome browser to view, to open my PDF. So I'm just going to open this in a browser. We'll see exactly what it looks like. So you can see here we've got the State of Tennessee, and this would be what what you would be able to fill out, or if you're creating a form that you email to someone else and you're asking them to fill out. So it looks like we have plenty of space in that. So knowing that, if that is going to be the only word that you're going to use in there, we can make an adjustment on that.
So do you, you put a tooltip in there, Brady, but I didn't see it come up when you were typing a minute ago.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't use them. I'm not for sure where it's going to come up, but we'll dive into that.
All right.
Yeah, it definitely should.
What it do?
Yep, I don't see anything come up either. And I don't know if it's specifically because I'm using a browser, but I think it should be embedded in the PDF.
Okay.
But yeah, we may have to get back to you on that because of the application at hand.
There was an option. Brady, there was an option a minute ago when you were going through that pop-up screen to lock it. What does that mean, to lock it?
That,
Down at the
back
bottom
to the
left.
general tab. I haven't actually used that either. Let's find out. We'll click locked.
Maybe it just locked in.
We'll save it. And it looks like primarily that it's, until I unlock it, that it's not going to allow that to be modified, moved, edited, or anything. So that appears to be what's going to be the case, because we are in the field that allows us to modify. If I go back to edit, let's edit object. Can of course do that. So yeah, it looks like that is specifically to the form field, and yeah, it just does not allow you to do anything with that.
All right.
So very good. Yeah, haven't actually checked in on that either. All right, so we'll leave that as it is. Instead of trying to create a sentence, since you all know or are aware of what that does, do we have any other comments or questions up to this point?
None for me.
No.
All right.
No.
Okay. We'll go ahead and we'll just take a look at some of the other fields to give you an idea of what they do. Push button, you could do that. Not really for sure how useful that is. The checkbox definitely is a good one. So if you have, let's just add text. Is this a DUI? You'll notice also that I added text instead of going to edit object. Let me click on that again. And then copy that, paste it. And then that way I have the exact same text size versus text and font versus it doing the Helvetica. So we'll do that, and we shall get rid of this. Let's delete you. You can align really based on the text size. You can put them on the top of the grid, the bottom side of the grid. We'll go back to form since we definitely need to check that, and then click on the checkbox. You can make this the full size of it or however large you want it to be. So we'll go with that. You'll notice here you do have the all properties link. So if we click on that, you could name it, and then yeah, curious about the tooltip. Maybe maybe a nuance with that too, but we'll check that out. The appearance, you can certainly change the appearance of that if you like. I pretty much just leave those as they are. And you can also, as you design these, if you have a specific place when you're filling out the form, when you click on the tab key on your keyboard, you can make it go from top to bottom or do a variety of different things. So your trigger, mouse up, down, exit, I don't know what on losing focus is, but select action. And of course you can do some additional things from here. Probably not going to really mess with any of that either. Yeah, so we'll leave that alone as well. So we'll close that. We've got that in place. I'm going to go ahead, and you'll definitely, as you get through this, you'll probably want to go ahead and save it. I'm going to go back to my browser and refresh. And you can see how it's laid out. So we got the text line right there, checkbox right there. If you zoom in, you see just primaries for those. Pretty much looks as it does on the form we're creating. Radio button is pretty much the same thing as the checkbox, other than just the style or look of it, but does pretty much the exact same thing. So we'll go back there, refresh, and you can see here it just gives us the circle, and just like the checkbox, applies that entry instead of the actual check. So it's at least an option for you. Next we have the combo box. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, because this will be in conjunction with this. You'll have, let's first add some text. Let's first edit object, right click, copy, right click, paste. Go down to the next line. And combo box, in this case, or at least from our use, what district are you in? Of course, your questions are going to be different than mine. Go back to the form, and we'll click on the combo box. Right here's where I'm going to move this over just a little to the right of the radio button. And I think we're just looking for a number on this. So this will be where, whenever you click click on this once the form is available, this will give you an option to select whatever you apply in the field. So if we click on properties, it gives it a name. Appearance, you can leave it as is, or may want to go ahead and change this. Now, if you do not copy, if it's not the exact same form type as above and it's not copied, then of course you will need to make the changes inside the combo box properties and or the other fields that you're going to use. If you want the same text, if you want it to, instead of being more random, if you want it to all align with the same text, just make sure that you apply that. And the item options, when you type in the item and add, it will give you each option and it will list it down below. So we'll say first, actually click enter. So instead of hitting enter, you must click, you may either tab or you must click add. And we'll do second, third, let's do a couple more, fourth, and fifth. And any of these other options that you want to add, you can do that. You can also perform calculations inside this if you choose. Close that, and we shall save. Go back to the form itself, refresh, and then right here you'll see the option. Looks like I probably would want to drag and drop that a little lower if it looks like the alignment I have off, even though it looks or appears to be okay there. Yeah, we may want to just align it a little lower. Save it. Let's refresh, see if that made any positive changes. So it looks a little better, at least the text is a little better, so you may need to play with that. But then here you have the drop down, you'll see you can make the changes to what you've put in that actual field. Alright, so we've got the combo box in there. The next one that we'll take a look at will be the list box, and it has kind of same features, just a little different style. So we'll copy this, paste it, let's put that down just a little lower, and we'll go back to the form tab, click on list box. I want to put that in based on the text that's going to be applied in there. Click properties, appearance if you want to change anything. Let's do the same thing again. First, second, add, third, add, fourth, and fifth. Close. All right. So go ahead, save that again. Go back up to the browser, refresh. Now you can see here it has a little different touch. What district are you in? Click on that. So instead of it being single option only, we could make the adjustment on that to tighten it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. If we only want one option to be shown, you want to adjust the size of that. So we'll save that. Go back, and now instead of it showing two district numbers, it only shows the one, and you'll be able to click on the thing is that it looks fairly, I don't know, to me it looks blurry. Looks like that could be done a little better, but it is an up and down option. You see if you go all the way up to the top, none is listed. Then if you click on the little button that's shown to be the bottom, it's kind of a little finicky. But once everything's applied there, at least it'll give you an option. You can see here I did not change the text of that. Probably one thing you would want to go back and do because you have Times New Roman and Helvetica on it as well. But I'll point out, maybe if you can get it to work, maybe that'll be pretty ideal. Let's see, where was that? Or maybe that is in this box. Yeah, you'll see here, down here, there is an option to use current properties as new defaults, which should apply to this box and others as well as the text. But primarily in the text area, if I right click on that, or maybe it's edit text that shows. I'll have to come back on that. There's one that you can actually make the selection for whatever properties you have applied to it, that it should apply as the defaults. However, it doesn't actually keep them for some odd reason. Hopefully that will be updated in the near future.
Brady, can you copy and paste off of a Word document onto this and then edit from there?
Let's give it a shot. I can't say I've ever tried.
I mean, it just seems like to me we're doing a lot of typing on this, and if you've got something already typed, but you want to modify it so that it can be a fill-in form.
Yeah, no, I absolutely see what you're saying.
Like judgment forms, or they haven't come out with the PDF on the fill-in the new judgment forms yet. But I just wonder if we could copy and paste and put it on here.
Absolutely. Okay, I've copied something on a Word document, and you're correct. Sure does.
Okay.
Well, good deal. Yeah, it's going to apply the exact, although it did not actually. It applied the default text that's in the application over. This is Times New Roman, so it did not carry over the formatting of that text. So that would be something that you would need to modify.
Right.
Yeah, but at least you'll have that option.
Well, if you copy and paste a whole paragraph, for example, and you want to be able to just change one or two things on it, you could select the whole paragraph and change the font at one time.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I'll show you one thing here. This is another area that I understand the reasoning behind it, but it also, you'll run into, if you don't do it at one time, unless I haven't picked up on something, that it will apply each line as a line of text. So if you do have a paragraph of text that you've copied and pasted, once you click away or move off to do another thing, if you go back to it, each line and or maybe each, well, let's take a look at it. Let me see if I can get another document loaded here. Okay, so I am just copying kind of a bullet point. So I've got that copied from Word that's on my clipboard. Right click and paste. You can see what it does here. Now each line here is going to be considered a line of text. So if I click away, you can see that you have the text there. The only thing here is that if I go to move this, you can see that instead of it taking the entire paragraph, that it only took that sentence. So that would be another nuance that you're going to need to, tolerate with the application. But at least it does give you that option. You may even need to resize some of that because that doesn't necessarily apply the full formatting. Let's see if we can take that down to the second row. And if I did that, you can see now that it separated those. But now that we're doing that, I'm actually glad that that's brought up, because I rarely even use this application, just kind of dabbling back into it. But there is an option here where you can link and join text. So I'm glad we're going through this, because this is bringing to light some things that I don't get to use on a regular basis. So within this, I believe all you have to do is click on the link and join text, and we're going to make a selection. I'm holding down actually you do not have to hold down the control key on the keyboard. Let's just add all of those. we'll go ahead. After we have all of those selected, it looks like we would need to click on the link. Looks like they are there, and I'm not sure if that accomplished what I really wanted it to, but let's see. Let's click on Edit Object. No, it did not. Yeah, I guess we'll use that for another training, because there's probably several options that you can do within that, so that the text that you copy, you can see over here that it has run off the side of the page. We either need to reduce the font size or just rearrange it however it is put on this field or on the form and whatnot. If you try to resize that, yeah, it doesn't actually change the font size, but it does change the view of it. Let me check that to verify. Height 06, appearance. Yeah, so it keeps the font size. It just has scaled it, so the actual the look of it fits on the page versus you having to actually change the font size. So it kind of is a little dynamic in that aspect. Okay. But let's see if we can link. Maybe I just didn't do something there. Okay, so we need to select. Okay, so it has linked those, but let's unlink. Let's click. Okay, there's options here. Let's join. Okay, so that's now all one. So in the upper left-hand corner, we selected the text that we want to join, clicked on the join button. Now let's see if and you can of course edit here. I'm going to see if I click on close, and if I click on edit object, I guess it's just for placement. Even if I click on edit text, okay, no, so okay, that'll be the difference. It's kind of a light bulb factor here for me as well. So you can see here, it's probably harder to see on your screen, but there is a line that borders all of this text. So I can now move all of that text over. Let me see if I can even adjust the size of it. Doesn't look like it's wanting me to do that. But that'll be, instead of edit object, use the edit text button to apply that. Let's just change the font size. Let's go 10. Times New Roman. Okay, it looks good. So at least we're getting a little somewhere with it. Let me see if I can move that over. Okay, it didn't like that. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, I guess that'll be, if that makes sense. I wish there was a little more 1, 2, 3 combo that I was able to do that in. But it looks like, yeah, once you have all of that text that you need, let me just do another couple sentences here. So on a Word document on my other screen, I'm copying that, right-clicking, pasting. Okay, no, it did not copy that time. Let me do it again. Okay, no option. Maybe I need to add text. No option there. Okay, there, it did apply it there. Okay, so we can see here that it brought the font and all of the text over. If you can definitely, as you do that, before you click away, you can make changes inside that text that you want to, shorten or condense or add or take away, whatever you need to. But if you click away, then that's where it's going to individualize that line of text. So then if we want to go back up, since we're wanting to link and join all of these lines, we'll just click on that. Okay, so that says 1. Looks like it should be So it hasn't been notified or activated them as separate. So let me go back up to edit text. Okay, so it looks like it kept that intact. That's good. So if we want that to be just text only, so even just playing around with it, kind of learn how it functions. It's not. I've usually just created things from scratch and typed some of the things that are needed. But yeah, so it looks good. Let's go ahead, save, and just see what it looks like. So getting there. Now if we need to go back and change any of that, and notice here we are in edit text. And really, I'm not given any options to do anything with it. I'm right-clicking on it. Let's highlight all of it. Still not really any options. So then you'll probably need to click on the edit object. But even then, it kind of separates them. So I guess we'd go back to edit text, highlight all, and from here just make our changes and adjustments. So that looks good. And then there. But then, interesting enough, you click on that edit object button, and that's going to separate them, make them individual lines based on their grouping and whatnot. All right. Let me see if we got anything from any of the others. One thing I'll point out here, if you have a kind of like a paragraph field that you want multiple lines of text to be applied, such as this narrative of offense, pretty simple to do, but just one thing that you want to make sure that you apply is scroll down, go back to the form. Going to want this text field, and you'd have all the text that you want. Just going to click, apply the length of it based on maybe you're asking for a fairly, instead of just a brief description, you're wanting a fairly lengthy description of whatever the case may be. Click on all properties. Of course, change your options. 12-point font. Apply whatever text you want to. Options, this is where you're definitely going to want to take note, because you'll see, let me open this other PDF that someone sent me. This is one that someone created, and you can see here that they have this short narrative of offense. However, in their form field, instead of, it starts right here at the S, so it overwrites that. It's probably fairly hard to see some of this. Let me zoom in. You can see here I'm writing the line of text, and okay, so that's applying. Maybe it wasn't one of the other. Okay, it was the bottom side. This one here appears to be an underline that should go along with this, but you can see that the actual text does not apply individually on the lines themselves. So you would want that box without any additional lines created like this one was. But this field here, where the cursor is in, this is the one where instead of it being multi-line, they did a single line, and instead of it crunching or condensing down the text, it's just automatically going to apply that as far right as you type. And then if you click away, it's only going to display the very beginning of that. So in order to overcome that, all you do is just go back to your form field, go back to the properties, make sure in the options tab that you go down, click on multi-line. You can choose the spacing. Single is usually what you're probably going to use. You can, of course, change that and then just apply it. So then whenever we save it, we go back into our form, go back here, zoom in a little bit. And then here's where you would be able to type your text, and it should drop down to the next row, and do that all the way across. Now, if you continue, let me highlight that. I'm going to paste. If you continue to go beyond, the thing I'd really like about this is that it will actually resize your the percentage or the view, not the actual text size, but it will change or it will reduce it so everything fits and you can see what's on the page. So I copied all that. Oh, I take that back. I thought that that's actually what it did. Let's
Will it shrink it as you continue to type more than the box allows?
It should, and I have experienced that in the past, and let me see why that is not. I guess it would just be, okay, I think because I selected the font size, I think I need to, in this case, I think I need to do auto. So let's save that. Then if I, whoops, wrong one, refresh. So I think that is where only if auto is selected will it apply that. So let me get at least one line here. Control A. Paste all that. Yeah. So auto will need to be selected on that for that to be the case. Otherwise, that 12-point font or whatever font size you want, it will always display that size and not make the adjustment. So that would be the time where auto is a good choice in that. All right. Lastly, there's a couple different things I think for this call. I think we're pretty good. If you want to add a picture, drag and drop seems like a good idea. However, sometimes it works and a lot of times it doesn't. So I've got an image that I'm going to just see if I can drag and drop it, but I think it usually, let's see how it responds today. So I've got a logo. I've dragged and dropped it. It's now trying to apply. So you can see here that it opened up, created a new tab. So this is it created a new tab, so this is its own PDF right here. So we don't really want that. So what we want to do is we want to apply that seal, and let's click Edit. Let's click Add Images. Then you're going to select Image from File. We'll click the seal. And even then, so it's going to fully maximize. Now what we'll want to do here, see that's not actually detecting. Let's go back. We've got the image added. Let's go back to Edit Object, and we'll want to select Image on there. Edit Object. And all of that looks correct. Let's see. Resize. I'm not really seeing anything that allows me to do that. Mode normal, difference, color burn. So that's kind of photo or image editing. Yeah, probably have to come back and revisit this. There's got to be, let me close that out.
I think the image would be good to know for state seal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I've done it, as you can see on these, like at least this other one, I've applied it. I just, like I said, I've used this probably just a few times this year before I decided to start teaching a class on it. And there also has been an update to this. So within here, of course, we want to edit the image. Let's see if there's anything else here that will allow me to do that. Yeah, I don't really, no name actually sticks out as far as giving me an option to do that. But you can see some of the other tabs we'll get into in the future as we go and dive into this application. Some things that you can do, such as scanning and doing, if you receive a paper copy and you scan it in at the multifunction, or if you receive a PDF, you can run or use what's called OCR to make it a PDF that you can edit using this application. There has got to be okay, so that is centered. Let me scroll out. Opacity, position, no option there. Maybe I guess if I just resize, I'm just gonna, and I bet that's probably the simplest thing, which there doesn't appear to be an option in any of the tasks or task there in the ribbon. Okay, and there we go. So you're just going to resize it using the controls, the little square controls, which I should have known that, but wasn't very obvious since it just fully maximized the size of it. So get rid of that, and you can see here you got fairly good options of placing and directing that. So sorry for it taking so long. It just wasn't so obvious since it maximized everything. I wonder if I take another object. Let me try that real quick. Okay, so instead of dragging and dropping, remember we'll go back, we'll click the Add Images button, and we'll click Image from File. Just point it to my OneDrive images. Let's just add this alarm clock. Click Open. So it does look like it maximizes it. So you may need to scroll out a little bit until you can see where those little square controls are at, then just resize. Put those on the form. So fairly simple. Just didn't stick out right in the very beginning to me. Okay. All right. So we got those. Go back to this document. See if there's any other things that we really need. Now in the form area, you do have this signature field, which would primarily be if you're using this PDF to be filled out and you're going to use a stylus, a tablet, or a computer that allows touch screen. You can certainly perform that and create that field. And I believe that is all that I have for today.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming. It's been the whole goal is to get a little curiosity driven into some of this and trying to get everyone to be able to take some of these tools that are, fairly inexpensive, to put them together and, use them so that you and your clientele who you work with and any other agency, have the capability of making everything a lot more streamlined. Any comments, questions, or concerns before we end this call?
When I click on the icon on my desktop, I get this user account control pop-up window. It won't open the Foxit Phantom PDF.
It almost sounds like that's trying to update the application, but it still should open. You may, if you
put in my password name, it doesn't need to be a administrator or anything?
Yeah, it would if that's what it's trying to do, but I don't think that that's set up to be done automatically. I think that would be a manual selection. Unless it's coming from one of our servers, then we do automatically update the software through it. So could you close that out?
When I click the icon on the desktop, it won't open. It just has this pop-up user account control pop-up window saying, do you want to make changes to the computer?
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like that it's going to want to write to the registry and update the application. Maybe it does need an update. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, John, we'll get together here in just a little bit, and we'll take a look at that. We may just want to talk to one of our technicians and have them, because I'm sure other people will probably be receiving the same message. We may want to just go ahead and take a look at our server and apply any updates or make any updates that we can from it. If not, then we'll just want to do it manually. But yeah, we'll definitely get that addressed and taken care of for sure.
Looks like I don't know, it won't let me create a document or anything, so.
So it just doesn't open at all?
No, the reader, even when I hit the reader thing, I mean, I used I used the stuff, but I don't know why I'm using it for some and not others, but anyway.
Okay, well, tell you what, let me check real quick.
Okay.
Do it on the fly here. What? Pretty sure.
You need my machine number?
I think I got you, but it looks like it may be an older one, unless I'm not seeing it. Yeah, what is?
DA 1749.
1749.
DA.
Is that a desktop or a laptop?
Laptop.
Laptop. There we go. And if anyone else, if you all need the Foxit Phantom PDF application, just please submit a help desk ticket. We'll get our administrator to push that out to your computer. Yeah, so it looks like this is strange. I guess it is wanting to update, so I'm sure everyone else will probably be running into that. Okay, so we've got that. Let's verify this. So we'll close it out. Okay, so I guess it did just have a quick little update that it needed, or it just needed that authentication. Rather weird. But yeah, that should get you going there, sir.
All right.
All right. Okay, very good.
So I can use this then to create a new document? Okay, I see where the create. I see now. Okay, it didn't open that before. All right. All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. All right. Any other questions?
Well, at some time, could we go through having a Word document and making it into a PDF so that we can make it into fillable forms?
If you're wanting to take the Word document, convert it into a PDF?
And then make it fillable form.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. If we can do that sometime, that's what I'm interested in.
Sounds good. Converting Word document to PDF.
Or converting, would you convert the Word to PDF or PDF to Word and make it fillable?
It really depends on what you're wanting to do and how you currently have it. If you have a PDF, just like a standard PDF, and there are no fillable fields in it, you can create those. Mm-hmm. Keep it as a PDF. Word also has form fields that you can use within Word itself, but it's not as robust as what Foxit can do. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I don't like about Word is that if you create a form field, as that text, there is no like actual form box that you can create on it. It's individual. Unless they've updated it, I need to take a look at that. It would just be kind of like a line of text, but there's no real dynamic adjustment to it. So I would say you'd probably want to convert it into a PDF. But yeah, we can certainly take a look at that, converting an existing Word document. And there's other things that you can output them to. You can include or use what you have to convert it into a PDF, and Word actually has that capability to do that, but it may not give you the fillable form fields, which you would need Foxit for to create those. But then from within Foxit Phantom, you can also use this fillable form field to be converted into, into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc.
Well, it seems like when I use that form, it asks me to sign in somewhere, as though I'm an administrator.
Okay.
Maybe I need an update or something.
It very well could be. Why don't you contact me and we'll take a look at that one-on-one together, because that, without taking a look specifically at what's going on, not for sure, but it may just be like John's computer, where it was prompting needing an administrative account to make a quick update or exchange or whatnot, and without that it wouldn't allow it. Okay. Very good. All right. Any other questions, comments, etc.?
Thanks for the training.
All right. Well, thanks for attending. Certainly,
thank you.
It teaches me a lot as I go through this. I'm getting better as I use it too. So we're all on the same path. Very good. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. I will hopefully talk to you either next week or actually next week we are out of the office, but the following week, and then we'll put together, if you also have any other scenarios that you want to put together like John and Debbie have, just let me know and we'll put those together and put that into a weekly training.
Okay, and where would we locate this video to watch again?
It's currently recording right now, so once I get it recorded, it will need to be produced, and it will probably be Tuesday before I'm able to get that edited, uploaded, and made available to you, but I'll certainly make it available to everyone who's been on this call today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you much. Well, everyone have a great weekend and Veterans Day, and I'll talk to you another time.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.